All right, you're welcome to Smart Reviews Administrative Request Management Software. Um, the request and resource management is one of the modules of Smart Review, and one of the reasons why the module have been developed is to help to remove the frustrations that managers have managing their administrative logistics requests and things like that. One of the things that you will discover is that administration is extremely important, but it can sap a lot of energy. It can be very cumbersome. It may be difficult for you to trace records and being able to standardize. And one of the things that this application does is to make all that easy. For example, the first thing is, let me just show you how the system is organized. You have the system actually allows us to capture resources within the organization. Essentially, you can have different kind of resources: people, finance, time, machine and equipment. When we talk about time, it eventually ends up in leave. And then we have materials and space. This software allows you to capture all the different kind of resources and to set it up. And then you will notice that for each of the resource that the system captures, we have somebody that we call a resource driver. And then the resource driver is somebody that takes the responsibility for the process and helps to coordinate the go between the end user and the approvers. That's just what the so usually for people resources, you have somebody in HR being the process driver. For finance, you have somebody in accounts. For leave requests or somebody like that in HR and stuff like that. So that's essentially what we have. Usually the system already captures most of the resources you have within an organization. However, if for any reason you can always add a new one by just creating a brand new resource somewhere here. Also, the system also ensures that we're able to capture what we call the request types or resource types within the organization. So if you look at this, you'll notice that you have finance requests and you have your leave request. If I want to limit this to leave request, for example, I just click on that and then it shows me all the different kind of leave requests that can take place within my organization. And so you're gonna see that the system allows us to set up the approved process duration. Usually you want to be sure that you set up limits as to how long it takes people to process this kind of a thing, so that they can know when it has expired and they can put a red on it and stuff like that. And then you also have the ability to set up the maximum allowed duration for that particular kind of request. Leave, for example, in this organization is about 65 days. And then you have the measuring units. Okay, so that's because we are dealing with leave, but by the time we deal with another form of request, we realize that we've not actually set up the measuring units. So you can actually do that by just clicking on any one of them, and then you can see that it's a finance request. So we can actually set up select Naira as a measuring unit and save it, and that's is going to take care of that. All right, so we can also put up what we call the maximum quantity allowed for that unit and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that the system helps us to capture. We are trying to do the setup. Once the setup is done, you'll be able to see. For example, the system also allows us to set up approval limits for different levels of individual within the organization. First and foremost, the system separates between the people within the organization that have both limited and unlimited limits. For example, if you look at this, the system, this is an approver person, an approver whose name is this, and then this is the resource category. All right, but then because this person is an MD, is actually it has unlimited limit. But for example, let's say that this person has a limited whatever. Let's say it's another kind of person. Then the system will open up the feeds for you where you can fill the lower limit and the upper limit, and then you can tell the measuring units. All right, so that's as flexible as the system can be with respect to approval limits. All right, so we also capture something like authority, approval authority level. so as to ensure that we can set up different authority levels for a given kind of resource within the organization and request. So you have first level, second level. We set about 5 levels here. You can set up more, but usually experience shows that most approvers don't go beyond about 3 or maximum 4 levels. But we can set up, so you can see that this is the sequence, the sequence number. That means when you have several approvers, the system actually captures the sequence number, for the approval, and then be able to arrange and sequence it the way it's supposed to be. Now, if you look at this, you have the description of the delegated authority that's supposed to be able to deal with this kind of request. But beyond that, the system also makes us have to create the different types of responses that you can get from those who are approving. We can create as many responses as we want by just clicking on new, and then we can define that. But usually we have that most organizations are already okay with the 4 that is defined. They are approved, rejected, provide more information, or represent at a future date, and then you can put the description here. All these things are setting the foundation for the flexibility of the logistics and approval system of our administration department. Now, then we now have what we call the approval resource authority definition, where you'll be able to say for a particular department and a particular kind of request type, what is the setup of those who actually, for example, if I come to human resources, I may say, okay, I want to know for leave requests, who are the people that will really approve this process, and then the system will come up and show us what we have approved, and then we can actually do a brand. So here you have for human resource department, when we are dealing with leave, so this one says human resource department approvals for leave time, and then you have here line manager, who is somebody for that department, who is in line, is the first person, the first functional sequence approver. And then you have the CEO, because it's a very small, fairly small company. So you can actually line up, if you have 5 or 10 approvers, you can add new approvers, and then the system allows you to set them up. And then, so once this one has been set up for the different kind of, this is one of the things that we do help our clients to sort out. Once we sort this one out, then the whole of your logistics approval request system begins to work like a wall clock, because it becomes quite efficient, because them now begin to pick them automatically. So let's look at a sample, leave request type of approval. For example, you can see here, the system also, first of all, for the administrator and the maybe the management staff, he will be able to see all the leave requests that have taken place, different types of leave requests that have taken place over a given period of time. First and foremost, you have to understand that this is not something that an average user will see. An average user will only see leave requests that is relevant to him. If he has done any, or if he has not done any one, he will see a blank, and then he'll be able to fill a new form. And then also you need to understand that the form can be filled from any PC anywhere in the world. He can actually fill his leave request using his phone. He doesn't have to be in the office. So it makes it extremely easy, because actually, it's actually cloud-based, and it's extremely. So for example, if I want to look at casual leave here, if I click on casual leave, there are 8 casual leaves. So the system will limit me to just seeing things that are relevant to casual leaves. Now, but I may not be interested in that. I can sort it out by saying I want to look at sick leaves. So you can see that I brought it down to 1. And then if I click on that, then I can see the details of the request that somebody made for sick leave. All right. You can do a new one. But one of the things I want to see is the structure and the process that it goes through when we are trying to make a request. For example, when somebody is trying to make a request, not all these buttons will be available for somebody who is an ordinary user. For example, the notify request owner button is only available to the process driver. The manage resource, the manage approval is only available to the resource driver, but remind process driver is available to the user. For example, if somebody has made a request and then he feels that the request is taking some time, he can just go to that form again and click on that. And once he clicks on that, a mail is automatically sent to the process driver, who is usually the HR person, and then he will be able to look over whatever is holding that request, and then so he doesn't need to leave his department, he doesn't need to make any, you just click a button. I'm going to be showing you some of the kind of mails that the system sends, which are quite intelligent, to drive the system. So for example, this is a request that have been made. Now this is where you have information about the approvers, for example. Now this shows that nothing has yet been done on this particular request, leave request. So let's say that you see immediately a user sets up a request, the process driver automatically gets a mail. Once you save, the process driver gets a mail, but we're going to be able to practicalize that. Now for this particular one, a request has been made, but it has not yet been activated for any of the approvers. So the process driver comes here because it will see all these buttons, and then comes to click on manage approvers, and then it will be able to look at, to activate the approval. It will look at this is the first approval on this whatever. So you just come and click a button here, and then click on activate approval. What that simply does is that it sets up this, it makes the approval available on that form to work on it, and then sends a mail to the approver to go and check his own dashboard, because immediately that request will now be available on his dashboard. And so this is exactly what happens when the person gets to that form. He will be able to see himself here. His name is already appearing here as an approver. So when he comes here, he will look at the form, look at the request, look at whatever is attached, and then he will come here and then click on his, directly opposite his name. He will look at what, let's say, okay, I've approved, and then you can make whatever comments, okay, that you want to make here. Once you make your comment, then if there's a document to back up whatever, then you can just come here and then you save. That's all that the approver does. He doesn't need to leave his seat. He just, he will simply, do that. You will notice that the same is trying to send a mail. It's processing. So immediately you finish that, a mail is automatically sent back to the process driver that I've done my approval. The user doesn't get the mail directly, because we don't want them to have direct interface, with all the different approvals, so that they don't keep disturbing them. But the process driver eventually gets a mail. And these are some of the things that makes it very fantastic with respect to administration. All right. So it gets a mail and is notified, because somebody has. And then once, that is done, then the process driver, if he looks at, for example, if you notice immediately that is done, if you come and look at the status here, this is the process driver, all right? But then this is the current approver. This person just approved, and you can see that this has changed to approved, all right? But the total process is still in progress. It's not yet fully completed, all right? So you can see that the information is increasing now. So what happens is, okay, so a mail has arrived, because I put myself there as a process driver. So if I click on that, I can see this mail now. So you can see this is the kind of mail that the process driver will get. Dear Michael, a request for approval have just been sent to your dashboard. This is the first mail that came from when the person, when the approval was activated. Please help attend to it as soon as possible. Thanks for your cooperation, most sincerely. So that's the first mail that the approval gets. And then after a while, the system, I'm still expecting another mail, which is going to come as a result of the fact that this person has approved. I'll go and check if what the email of the approver is. If it's not mine, then it's not likely that I'll be able to get the mail. But just for you to understand exactly how it works, so this is how the whole thing works. So the mail comes, and then the person goes to his dashboard, and it keeps doing that until everything is fully completed. All right. So when that is sorted out, the process driver, looking at the system, can actually check whoever is the next approval and then activate the person. One of the reasons we try to ensure that you don't activate all the approvals sometimes. You can do that at once, but what happens sometimes is the fact that Once something is not approved by the previous person, it may not be necessary for you to go to the ultimate approval. But apart from that, you need to understand that sometimes you don't want to bog very senior people down with things that have not been fully sorted out. All right. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are dealing with things that are relevant to them, and then they don't get a mail, and then they find out that these things have not been really well structured and stuff like that. So basically that's what you have. Now it's also possible for, once the requests have been fully once it is completed, um, and you save it, the system automatically sends a mail to the person that, okay, your request have been approved. But in case it doesn't have it, a notification can still be sent by the process driver, informing the person of the fact that his request have been approved. So that's basically the process, and you can see a whole lot of interaction between the system. So you can have, well, if you have, for example, 15 or 25 or even 100 or 200 staff, you can see how much you are going to remove. You're trying to have people physically interacting with the admin people, and how easily you can do a lot of sorting out. All right, so another mail has already arrived. So that's, this one says, um okay, the mail I'm expected have not arrived, but the mail keeps coming, as long as this, it could take some time because of whatever the system, whatever. So basically that's what I wanted to show you. We can actually do another form of request. Financial request, for example, has a different kind of form. So you can have, for example, you have the amount requested, the amount approved, and then every other thing the system can begin to manage and ensure that everything works out. And this is exactly what the administrative process looks like. And so at any point in time, you can always get very detailed reports. You can do a lot of sorting, to know a lot of details of business intelligence with respect to what you have in your administrative system, while removing all the bottlenecks. Thank you very much for listening.